Okay, welcome to the Blissed Out Podcast. I'm Mark.
Zach.
Thanks again for tuning in. We are on episode 3 now. That's amazing. Is that shit being bitchy? Being a bitch? God damn it, Zach, figure your shit out.
Woo!
Nice job.
That's actually so much better.
Yeah? Fuck yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk it out, kind of.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to, develop the question
Okay.
by bringing in what you originally brought in. Because you originally brought in, the idea of being a nice male and how, from your experience, you've been taken advantage of for that or disregarded for that. For my experience, I've been made fun of for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it affected my authenticity. But I mean, the question that we kind of cultivated today is how we show up as a masculine in this world with our balanced feminine.
Mm. Yes.
Something along those lines.
Yes.
The question itself hasn't fully been clear and concise, but the idea we know.
Yeah. I feel like I have something to start out with.
Let's do it.
To be honest. So growing up, my dad told me that he loved me. My dad would give me kisses on my cheek. My dad would hug me, and not many kids are that age at that time that were boys had dads that would tell them that they loved them. I had a lot of friends that I would go over to their house and their dad wouldn't even really say bye to them or acknowledge them sometimes, but most of the time it was just they just said bye, no hug, and I'm super grateful that I was able to be told that I love you from my dad and to be hugged by my dad. And I didn't realize how important it was at the time. I actually got, I would get embarrassed sometimes too, being in elementary or middle school. You're I don't want my dad to hug me. Growing up during, the times that we did, it was kind of not normal for your dad to hug you even. Or to say, especially I love you. It was it made you less of a man or less of a boy. And that's just how our society's, trained us to think that there's something wrong with that. But going back to that story is, I was fortunate enough to have a dad that would kiss me and tell me that he loved me. And I just knew I was loved. And, but going into middle school and especially middle school, it was a challenge because I had a lot of love from not only my dad but my mom, and so I feel going into middle school, I was friends with everybody. I was friends with women, and it wasn't even a sexual thing. It was just I was friends with them, but a lot of boys at the time would get upset that I was hanging out with women because especially if it was their girlfriend, they thought I was hitting on them. But I was just friends with everybody. I was friends with a lot of ladies,
Ladies, man.
Yeah. But so being more of a feminine boy during middle school was was really hard because a lot of kids would especially a lot of boys would, want to fight me for no reason because of just the way I acted or who I was, and just being more, I was super nice to people. I was, and I thought that was how you get around, how you be in school is you be nice to people and treat people with respect, but obviously that can go the other way around and you can get taken advantage of. And anyways, That's all I really have to say about that. I don't
Yeah,
know where I
but
was going with that.
how did that like affect the later years of your life? Like the last. I mean, you're 33, right?
No,
Usually?
actually,
31.
31. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, close.
I have a few 33-year-old friends, so I was like,
Once
is this
you're
one
in,
of them?
once you're in the your later 20s, like you are
Yeah.
in 30s, it's like don't even know.
Age is just a number.
Just a number, baby.
So how did that like affect you in your 20s then? Like as an adult, like how did you show up in the work environment and
Man.
and how was your relationship with your dad after that? Like did it like were you able to continue to show up in that way of like genuine kindness and love, or did it kind of shift you at any point to like show up angry or like closed off or protected?
Yeah, I think, going into like from middle school to high school, it was still the same thing. Like I was super nice to people and loving and caring. And a lot of the men that were in high school were not that way. You had those, like, you had the jocks, and then you had, the people that just didn't have dads that loved them, and that's really what it comes down to, or even moms that love them. Love in general.
Yeah.
It can really affect you and how you grow up and how you treat people in the world is how you're treated when you're young and like what you're around. But in high school it really, I feel like in high school, I know we're talking about 20 years old, but in high school it was like I think things were starting to shift where people that were mean to me, or boys that were mean to me in middle school, were actually starting to be my friend. It was like I kind of had this more swagger because I was like, I had a lot of women friends because I was respectful, and like I think they finally was like, oh, he's not actually like a
Fuck boy.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a similar upbringing, very loving parents. My dad wasn't super expressive. He told me he loved me all the time, gave me hugs all the time, was at every one of my like soccer games, every event for all of my family members.
So he did tell you that he loved you.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
I was very blessed with loving parents.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because I've got to see his love shift over the years as mine has, and our whole family dynamic. But he was a great example of like just being a genuine, kind person, just to everyone, no matter who they were.
Yeah.
And then like middle school's where things really shifted, like friend dynamics shifted. It became like popularity, like shows, people wanted to be cool and have a lot of friends. And I had a similar life. I was like just nice to everyone, but also I was very shy because like I didn't want to get made fun of. I didn't want to get like bullied. I didn't want to stand out. Yeah, so I would just like hide myself but still be nice to everyone. And in high school as well. I had a couple friend groups that I hung out with, but it wasn't until like senior year that I had like an actual friend group that it was consistent.
Yeah.
That I felt like fully included in. But for the most part, it was like I was friends with people from every category.
That's cool. That's probably why me and you are friends. Like we're literally, that's pretty similar to my upbringing.
Yeah, I just like couldn't. It was hard to be rude to people. Like
so you got along with everybody. You got along with like whatever, the nerds, the jocks, the pretty women. You got along with everybody.
Yeah, I didn't talk to everybody, but I got along with everybody.
That's cool, man.
Had some cordial relationship with certain people that were more outgoing.
Yeah.
Because I was shy. Yeah.
Honestly, like. That's cool. And it like literally that is how I was too. I was friends with everybody in high school. And I think like when you're loved growing up, and I feel like you can show more of who you are. You feel more comfortable with who you are for the most part. It definitely adds to it.
Yeah.
You feel like you can be, knowing that you're loved makes you feel like you can love other people and genuinely care for them, and being friends with everybody is, especially in high school, is so uncommon, and I think those people like me and you, for example, are the ones that kind of wake up spiritually a little bit sooner than others, you know? I don't know if that's true or not.
It might be. I mean, to
Just an
some
idea
level,
that popped in
whether
my head.
conscious or unconscious, we kind of just knew that we're all the same.
Yeah.
You know, we're all figuring life out. And I mean, I didn't know fully back there, but part of me did, or else I wouldn't have showed up the way I did. I don't know. I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I have like very few regrets, and having a regret is weird because I don't really have regrets. But there are moments where I remember completely like turning on that vision of myself and being rude to people. It happened. I can remember once or twice, and it was like a specific person. And I've actually like gone out of my way to clear that with this person within the last year. Actually,
Yeah.
I just kept running into him. I'm like, thank you. This is my chance to like apologize for the way I showed up. Like, it was 6th grade to be exact. And I had a girlfriend. I was like one of the only people in the whole fucking school with a girlfriend, dude. I was terrified. Like,
That's cool, dude.
I was terrified. And like,
That's
but
cool.
I also became this like asshole. Like, I
Okay.
felt like I had to fill this role. And
For
so like
sure.
there was like a 3-4 month period in 6th grade where I was just a dick. And
I get that.
it's what happened, but I'm grateful because
Yeah,
it allowed. I got to see the contrast a little bit, and then the only other times I've seen that side come out of me is in a competitive like soccer space.
Sure. I feel like that happens, you know. That's cool because I went through a similar thing. It was like, well, no, what I want to say is it's cool that you're able to, they came back into your life, so you're able to kind of be like, yo, I'm sorry the way I like showed up. Because when you're young, you're just trying to fit in, right? Like, you have roles that you feel like you need to fill.
Yeah.
You know, and I can relate so hard to that. Yeah, there was actually something I wanted to bring up that you,
Well, based on like our ancestors, like you want to fit into the community, because if you don't, then you're like getting kicked out of the tribe. You know,
that's a very good
like there's
point.
this underlying feeling of wanting to be desired
Yeah,
by everyone.
right.
And it turned into like the opposite end of that pendulum of where we like needed to be something we weren't.
Sure.
But it's an interesting dynamic, school, because it's like so structured and all these kids don't know who they are, you know?
That is true. It's very structured. So that's why there is like separation, because it's structured so much, you know? Yeah, I never thought about that. One thing I want to bring up that's super cool, and it makes me feel so, I don't know, makes me feel so full of love, is that we're able to, I never thought this day would happen, to be honest, that me and you and other men are able to say I love you, like in this space. Like, I don't think I ever thought that would happen. You know, I never heard that, even in my 20s, you know. I rarely heard people saying that, and I thought it was like weird a little bit. Even in my 20s, I thought that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get out of that structure, you
It's
know.
new for me too.
Yeah.
But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, and the more you really feel it, and the more it's real.
Right.
The more real it is.
Right.
So,
Well, because we have been raised in a culture where it's like, if you say I love you to a guy, you are gay.
yeah.
You know, like that's a lot of. It's too bad that that has happened, but I'm just glad we're in a space that it feels so real. Like when I say it, I'm like, wow, I love you. Like we're brothers. Like, and it's the same with like having friends as females too. It's like, I love you because like we have this great connection, and it's like, and having a spiritual connection too is just a totally another layer of love, because I feel like when you meet people that are, you know, awake, you connect quicker, and it's like you have this remembrance of like we met in a past life, so it's easier to just find a friendship, and you know each other, me and you have known each other for 5 months, maybe 6 months now, and it feels like we've known each other for many years.
Yeah.
And so I connecting at a spiritual level is just so much easier to be like, hey, I love you, and like it feels great, like, and I love saying it, and it doesn't feel weird, and I'm so glad I'm at a space where it doesn't feel like weird, and it never should have.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it ties into our last podcast about love. Like, love is so much deeper than just a romantic relationship, this brotherly love that we're like learning for the first time. I mean, I love my brother, but I feel like I'm closer to a lot of my friends than I am like my own family, you know? And
right.
It's kind of sad to think about, but it's like, that's just the reality of things. I don't know exactly why that is. It seems to be like spending so much time, you see people a certain way and show up a certain way that it's almost like a program based on that relationship, that dynamic.
For sure.
And that's the practice that I've been working on, is like showing up as my authentic self with my family too.
That's a big step.
Yeah, and I'm getting better, but there's definitely room to grow. I did want to talk more about that male-on-male love, because I think it's so needed in this world. Like, males are just expected to be strong and not show emotion. Not by everyone, like, but it is a general consensus, like,
it is,
to like provide and be the man of the house,
right.
Like,
so we've been, it's what we've been told.
And to like loop it back to how you were showing in middle school, you were friends with a lot of girls, and these guys were intimidated. It provoked like this competitive emotion within them, where it's like, oh, who's this guy? Like, he's not cool, like whatever, and maybe you got bullied or judged for it, But like, if we can come to a space of like loving understanding, like competition still comes up for me sometimes, like in terms of that dynamic. And
Same.
I'm glad because I'm aware of it, and I can look at it and be like, whoa, I don't want to feel this,
Right. Right.
And then like show up and then always choosing to show up from a space of love within those male on male dynamics has proven to be like pretty special, and developed some really cool bonds between me and some other guys.
Yeah.
In a obviously platonic way.
You saying that is so powerful. How you during the walking meditation at the Joe Dispenza event, you saw a guy like open his heart during the meditation. You saw him cry, and it made you felt it with your heart,
Mm-hmm.
and you started tearing up. Like, that is what we need. We need more men to step out of that fear, to step out of that, to step out of thinking that something is wrong with you for wanting to cry, or to open up your heart, or to think that it's wrong for someone to say I love you to you,
Yeah.
It's something we've got to work on, and I it is getting a lot better. I
think so, at least in our immediate environment. Like, and
right.
This is why it's so important, is you be the change you want to see in the world, right? It's a very famous quote. Be an example of the love, and people will adjust, and it'll take some time. It'll be a little uncomfortable at first,
right.
Saying I love you back, giving a hug back.
Yeah.
There are certain guy friends that I lock it up and then hug, because I know that's what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I want to show up for them as loving as I can, while
right.
still allowing them to be safe. I think that's important. And then there are guys that I just go in for the biggest hug and like just, embrace, like it's just this brotherly bond, and tell them how much I love them and how grateful I am for them. So like, there is different dynamics of that male on male love, but like continually to show up from that space allows them to step up when they're ready, and be more comfortable with that love.
Yes.
And it's so cool to watch, because I've had many guys like express how grateful they are for me and how much they love me, and like, I'm like, I'm grateful for you too. Like, I'm just being me, like, I just want you to feel this love. I don't say that, but like, I want you to feel what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the general idea of why I show up the way I show up, because it's like this feeling, there's no better feeling in the world, and we have it right within us.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, and we've forgotten, you know. And so you showing up like that is, people can feel it, you know. They can be like, man, this guy, you can tell this guy loves himself, you know. Obviously we have our stuff we still are working on, but you show up with love, man, and you can have another man have his heart blow up, you know. Like, and you're right, it's like you don't need to be forceful about it. No, it's just like whatever is comfortable, and like just show up as you know, and treat people with respect. It comes down to like basic things, right? And then you never know like what that might do, you know. Just showing up for people can help open up someone's heart, you know.
100%.
And yeah, we just got to be really aware of that. But I love that you I think you, Jordan, when I met you guys, was really when I started saying I love you more to guys. Like, I said it to Brecken, you know, I've said it to him occasionally, but man, ever since like my awakening and like meeting you guys, it just has been so I feel so comfortable saying I love you. And like even saying I love you to my mom, I feel like I would just say love you. Like, it wouldn't be like, it would be kind of like, oh, I have to say it, you know. Not that I didn't love my mom, but it was like, oh, I have to say it. Like, I'm just tired of like. But after my awakening and meeting you guys, it just like, it comes off of my, like, through my heart, and it feels so genuine, and like there's no question about it now. So I appreciate you and Jordan and, you know, Huli, just for opening up my heart even more.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
And as you have mine, you know. It's funny that we'll say love you instead of I love you out of a comfort, and like an obligation to say it.
Yeah, there's something about taking out the I that's kind of like you're lazy,
or it makes it less serious. Or something.
Exactly, dude.
That's a great reminder for me. I wanna say I love you more to people.
There's something, it adds more, like it enhances it more. You know, it feels more genuine than being like, love you. You know, and you can say that, and you really probably do mean it, but most of the time it's kind of like a laziness, you know, or you don't. It's like it feels uncomfortable a little bit for some reason. But yeah, dude, I am just so grateful for you guys, and it's helped me show up for people and other men too, and I've seen my friends like open up more too, just by showing up in a space of love. It's like almost they can sense that my heart is opened, you know, because of meditation and tuning into my heart and waking it up, you know. It's that basic thing. Like, you don't know that your heart is closed off, and then when you focus in on it and it opens up and you connect the heart to the brain, everything shifts. It's like you just feel more love all the time, and so you're able to say I love you, and it feels real, and there's no like holding you back saying it, you know. So it's something we got to work on, and it's getting better. But the bottom line is, just show up as you know. Who are you? Like, don't show up as someone that's fake, man. I'm sick of that shit.
And unfortunately, I don't think that's fully conscious, because if I look back on the times where I wasn't being this version of myself, which I still have work to do to become who I fully am,
yeah,
I don't think I was conscious of the way I was showing up. I thought that was who I was, you know.
Sure.
So it's like giving people grace as well with where they're at, and just.
That's very true, because it's like some people, men or women, they don't like you don't know that you're, you know, especially how you're raised or what you're around, like that makes you not sure what love is, and like sometimes you just don't know how to show it, and that's what it is. And so you do have to show up for people, whatever space that they're in. You're totally right. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and just that, I saw a video recently. It was like, I can't remember who said it. He said, it might have been Bashar.
Bashar, yeah.
He said, consideration is the highest form of love. So like, how I would showcase that phrase is like me not hugging someone, telling them how much I love them when I know that they're not comfortable with that. Like, that's love.
That is
considering where they're at.
I love that.
As well as like, I don't know, I'm having a hard time coming up with examples at this moment, but
No, that was a great example. That was a great. It makes like you want to be considerate. That's showing up in love, you know.
being an emotional man and a loving man is true masculinity, at least to me. Which true masculinity is the balance of the feminine within us.
Yeah.
It's like showing up in love for man, woman, families, strangers, enemies. That is true masculinity. I feel like there's this projection of what masculinity looks like, in my opinion, where it's like it has to be this warrior, this fighter, someone who, no matter what, is winning all the time.
For sure that yeah.
But like my friend Brujo, our friend Brujo, brought up the word meekness. He described it like a horse is very meek. They have the ability to kill you with one kick, but they're very gentle. Like once tamed, I guess. But like,
I see what you're saying.
so like I've also heard the quote like, "There's power in softness." Like the ability to be soft and gentle is very powerful.
Yeah.
Because you're able to like control your power in like a delicate manner, you know?
That is, you're right. That is masculine to me.
Me too. Like there are times where the warrior needs to come out, you know?
Sure.
Shit needs to get done. Root chakra. Let's bust shit out.
Yeah.
You know, like don't fuck with me. You know? There's times when that's needed, but there's also, it's like martial arts, like fighting is the last thing. It is the last resort. And so
that's what you learn in martial arts.
It's like a lot of the times they're teaching you how to make calm a situation.
Yeah.
But they also teach you the arts of fighting to prepare for the last resort.
Sure.
And I've never really been in a fight. Never had to. I don't know what that says about me or the situations I've been in, but maybe it's been avoidant sometimes, and there are times where it just de-escalates somehow.
You probably show up with respect and like peace, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes like that is the key to avoid a crazy situation, is like someone's like yelling at you and you've done nothing, but you like respond in a very calm way, and all of a sudden you'll see that person's demeanor like shift
Completely.
Yeah, I've had that happen actually pretty recently. So
me too. I want to hear I want to hear this story because I think it's so important for people to hear the fact that you can completely calm a situation by showing up from a loving, powerful space. Like I had one experience I'll share really quick. I was on a golf course.
No, please.
There's these dudes, they like walked on with a couple clubs and they were just smacking the ball, and they'd be like, fuck, and then they'd throw their club, and then they'd walk up to the club, pick it up, and the same thing over and over and over again.
I wonder how they afford all those golf clubs.
They didn't pay to get on the course. They just like walked on. They had no idea. So here's what happened. I was with some homies at the time, and they're like, fuck these guys, like these guys are terrible. And I'm like, they are wild cards. Like, we got to be careful. Like, they start chirping a little bit, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to go say something. So I went up to them, I was like, hey, guys, how's it going? Like, just all chippy. And they're like, oh, man, it's all right. Like, we're just struggling. You could tell that they were, like, not all there.
Sure.
You know? And I was like, he was aiming at the wrong hole. This is Mulligan's, by the way, so the holes are just like everywhere. He's aiming like this way. I'm like, dude, your hole's actually right there. He's like, oh, no shit. I was like, yeah. I was like, have you guys been to the driving range? It's a great way to practice and like get better. And I'm being genuine, but also like kindly get off the fucking course. You're like causing havoc without telling them that. And he like was like, wow, man, thank you so much. He's like, we're going to head out.
What?
Like straight up, he just like dipped.
Amazing, dude.
They like completely just shifted the whole scenario. Like they were so angry. Yeah. I could feel it from my golf cart. I was just like, it was making me sick in my stomach because they were like smacking their club as hard as they can. I've never seen. It's like a movie, dude. Yeah. Like half these stories feel like they should be in a movie.
That sounds like a movie for sure. You go up and you shift the situation. Well, all you did was like, I mean, you you shifted your energy. Instead of being like, yo, you're really being annoying as shit, get the fuck off, you know.
Right.
You were like, hey, like, you gave them some advice, which they probably needed, of like, you can practice over there and practice to get better to be on the course. And like, you probably showed up with a very peaceful energy, and that takes practice too. So great job with that, because not everyone can show up. Sometimes you enter those situations and you start to feel anxiety, and you're like, oh, I mean,
Right.
you can get over that, but it does take practice.
And I wonder what would happen if I would have shown up as like a masculine male. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys need to get off the course.
Exactly. That's probably what they've heard from their dads, you know, or moms, whatever, of like being raised by that energy of like fear, you know.
Like, we got to shift the whole paradigm for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're, like you said, they're used to this pattern of like being yelled at or like being confronted for acting up.
Yeah.
And so they're going to continue that pattern.
Exactly.
But the second you change your part of the creation, it allows them to shift.
Right.
Which is on a quantum level, quite literally shifting realities. It's shifting dimensions.
That is so true. So
I love that we're incorporating
nice, dude.
this.
That was a good one. Holy shit.
Good one.
Good one. Yeah, it feels good to be awake, for sure. That was, wow. But no, it's these men and boys that have grown up with dads or moms that have treated them like shit. All they want is to be loved, you know? That's why it's like, that's what we have to do, is keep showing up in love and be an example of truth for, you know, younger people and for men our age that are struggling to love and to feel loved and are in this spot of fears. We got to keep just showing up and doing what we're doing, you know, doing this podcast and talking about it, because it is tough. I get it. Like,
it is.
I was fortunate enough to have a dad who loved me, but still it was hard, you know, because our society has made us feel like it's wrong to love in general, you know. So super cool that you showed up that way. Like, I love hearing stories like that, because we need more of that, you know. And yeah, the story of mine's pretty short. It was actually probably a couple of months ago.
Wow.
But I was visiting my mom at her place, and I pull up with my car. I'm getting out of my car, and then all of a sudden, this older guy is like, "Hey, why are you and your mom always switching out cars?" Like, he was so concerned of our life, like we were doing a drug deal or something. And truthfully, what we're doing, we've been switching out cars because I've been using her car because it's better and I can go up the canyon, you know. So, but he had been like watching, like, my
That's weird.
yeah, I'm like, and that kind of energy is very narcissistic and very like borderline personality. I have grown up with that type of energy, so I know exactly what it is when it pops up. So as soon as that guy was like, I could feel his energy, I knew he was just like watching every move because he thought something was going to go wrong, or, you know, they're doing something, like they're, yeah, that's so weird. But that's what, you know, if you're raised that way, that's, you know, you show that energy. So he was like, why do you keep moving your cars? What are you guys doing? And I wanted to get super mad because it instantly triggered something in me of my past, because I was around that energy. So I was just like, oh crap, how am I going to handle this? Like, I'm learning, and I have grown a lot. I am more awake now. How do I like react to this? So I did get kind of like frustrated for a second. I was like, oh my gosh. But I didn't say anything mean. I had to like calm my body down, and I was just like, hey, I literally just told him what we were doing. I'm like, me and my mom switch out the cars because her car is better. I like to go up the canyon. And he got a little bit more like angry about something else. And then I was very like calm about what he responded, how he responded. And all of a sudden his energy just shifted, because I was in peace. And somehow, even though I was a little bit shaky, I didn't react. And I was very just like I was just like, yeah, me and my mom, you know, she's helping me out. And And then I asked him a question. I was like, what are you, how are you doing? What are you about? Like, it was super sweet. And all of a sudden his energy shifted and he was like, you know what? You remind me of my son.
What?
Yeah. And he was just like, you're very, you're very calm and like, you're very nice. And then he just started talking about, he was like a vet and was in the army and has like this pain in his body and like bad knees. And so I just let him talk. And then after that day, ever since I've seen him, he's just like, hey, how's it going? Like, no question about it. So it's really, bottom of the line is practicing that. You don't want to, those situations will come up, and you got to keep shifting your energy before you respond. You got to just take a second and be like, how am I going to react? And it's a practice. So I was really proud of myself because I've had situations like that where I've just been like spooked out and I'm like, I got to go, I'm leaving, or I'll react and I'll kind of get mad and then I just leave.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's crazy.
There's two things that stand out to me there. The first is the same with my story, as how like he's used to a confrontation coming back. And he'd try it again.
Exactly. He wants to feel those emotions.
I mean, yeah,
of the past.
Those emotions are addictive.
Yep.
And we will unconsciously continue to choose into those emotions, and sometimes consciously.
Exactly, dude.
So that was one thing, but you also got to shift your past by acting from a space of love, right, which is so cool. And then the third thing, which I think is so important, is like the fact that you were still like trembling and still able to that the creation still unfolded. Because I've had moments like that too, where it's like, oh man, like I don't know if this is gonna go good. I'm like shaky. I'm like just breathing, and it like works out perfectly.
Yeah. And
I'm like, oh, okay, that gives me like a sense of safety and security, that there's some wiggle room.
Yes.
That I don't have to be perfect.
Yes.
Perfectly calm for a situation to go
right
in a way that serves everyone.
Yes. It's almost, yes.
The body can be reactive, but it's the mind and the feeling, right, that creates the reality. And so the mind is staying calm. There might be thoughts trying to come in, but it's like ultimately like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good.
Right.
The nervous system's activating, so you're like shaking or your heart's racing.
Yes.
But ultimately the creation unfolds beautifully, and you're like, oh my God, I did that. You did that.
Thanks,
and
man.
Although it was maybe shaky, you didn't know how it was going to turn out.
No, I did not.
But it worked.
But you're right, though. It's like what Joe teaches, Dr. Joe. He, you have to keep stepping into that uncomfortable feeling, and I've had encounters like that a lot in my life, and I hate them. I hate, because like I said, I grew up with that energy, and I would avoid situations that people were like yelling in the background. I would just leave because I hated it. Yeah, you get it. We're sensitive. Yeah, we're sensitive. Yeah. Me and you are sensitive beings, and so, but if you don't practice that and get through that emotion by confronting those situations, you're going to stay the same. You're going to keep leaving situations that can actually be, peaceful. And it takes practice, though. Like, you got to step into the unknown. When you're in those situations, just try it. Even if your body's like feeling anxiety, work through it, because that's when you start building upon there's a good analogy that my friend told me about, like with a candle, how it like it's like when you put your what did he say? It was like when a candle's burning, how you can like put your finger in like the hot wax, mm-hmm, and you get like a layer. But the more you keep putting your finger in, it keeps creating layers on layers and layers. It's like the onion, the layers of the onion. The more you keep building that armor, and so the more you keep showing up in situations like that, the more you start getting over those past emotions, and it's tough, but it feels so liberating. And then you start showing up in life differently. Yeah. You're more confident. You show up more in peace, because you're like, whoa, if I show up more in peace in every type of situation, everything usually turns out really great, you know? And that's the thing is like we run, a lot of our society has, you know, pushed fear into us. So that's why a lot of our society is chaotic, you know, when we have people that like kill each other for no reason or carry guns or, you know, people get raped is because it's just, they're in pain, they're in sadness, they have their past, you know, they're in fear, you know, and the bottom line is what I'm trying to say is everyone just wants to feel loved and to be loved and to know that they can love themselves. You know, that's the main thing is that you have to love yourself first before you can love someone else. And that takes practice and change. Mm-hmm. You have to sit with your body. You have to tune into your heart. You know, it takes change to do that.
Yeah, it takes time and practice. Practice feeling those emotions.
Yes, dude. Feeling that, yeah, exactly.
One thing I wanted to say, because the more you're in the uncomfortable situations, the easier it gets, right? My friend Bree brought up this quote. She said, it's only going to be this hard right now. So basically, it's going to get easier the more you get in those uncomfortable situations. Like, I look at life like a video game sometimes. It's like the more I grow, the bigger the bosses become, but the more versed I am to fight the bosses, you know?
Great analogy.
So, like, I'm getting stronger. The bosses are getting stronger, but I'm more equipped.
Yeah.
And I can deal with them better.
Yes.
You know, it's more comfortable.
Yes. That's amazing. That's a great analogy. Yeah, it's all about practice.
But yeah, dude. And then to go back to what you finished on is like, we all want love, whether we know it or not. Some will say they don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak to their experience, but they do.
Well, and it's exactly, and we have forgotten, you know, a lot of the years we've lived, you know, 30 years, 27 years, and many years before that, 50, 100 years, has been a lot of pain, a lot of forgetting the heart, you know, moving into our lower centers, and we don't want that. We want to be in our higher centers. Like, we really are just love. And I mean, and all we want to feel is love. Like, our heart is our creative fucking center. It is the magnet.
Anyways.
Oh, yeah, we got to close up.
Yeah. This was a fun new session in a new place. And
yeah, I forgot that we were not at your house. I totally forgot.
I forgot where we were at.
Yeah.
We were. It was actually nice. We were in it felt like we were in this flow and like nothing else existed.
It definitely
Which
did.
is the purpose.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
Yeah.
And we're just going to get better at it.
Yeah, man. We just got to keep showing up, you know? But yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 3. Episode 3.
I kind of knew you were going to do that, so I did that.
That's cool, dude. Yeah, I'm excited, honestly. We're going to get, like I said, we're going to get more people on here. We're just waiting for the right time and space, but it'll be coming up. But we have a lot more to talk about. It's just fun. Yeah, we've got a lot to just pick a topic and then go off of it. So anyways, thank you guys again for tuning in.
Yeah.
That's Zach, and I'm Mark, and we are here to love, because we are love.
In bliss.
And we're blissed out, bitches.